Yeah. 33 of... I only have 2 weeks left, so I'm just gonna max out Kamal. I don't think I'm getting any more reputation. But, you know, that's... Like I said, I'll replay the game and get the reputation and do what I need to do. Relationship with Kamal at maximum. Nice. And so now all I'm doing is hauling luggage. It's our last week now. That's what we got. It's our last week. Alright, here we go. And then we're coming down to the finale. I didn't quite get reputation of 90, but, you know, we'll try it again. It's almost time for Lady Rosalind's party. Hopefully we'll have some skill checks here, because that's kind of what I need. I'm a bit nervous, but not nearly as nervous as I think I should. That's definitely thanks to Licia. What she said about Dad, that he'd believe in me no matter what Rosalind said. I love how he says Dad. I want to place faith in that. I take a deep breath and look over my appearance once more in my room's mirror. Once I'm sure I won't embarrass anyone, I leave my room and head to the kitchen. Lady Rosalind's servants bustle about the kitchen and make their last-minute preparations. One of them eventually approaches me, and after confirming that I'm the one Rosalind requested, hands me the selected wine before sending me on my way. Oh, wow. I enter the dining room and start serving drinks. When I finish pouring the first round, I take my spot out of the way in the room's corner. Vincent and one of Lord Sanders' other servants help set up the food, and the guests all get started. Things will go fine until after the first course when Lady Rosalind stands to make an announcement. I guess she's making her move now. I mentally brace myself as she begins. Can I have everyone's attention, please? As you may have already guessed, this is not a simple dinner. I'm afraid I've gathered you all here for a very specific purpose. I know that each and every one of you has Lord Sanders' best interests in mind, and today we will need to prove it. You see, our beloved host has been taken in by a loathsome beast intent on claiming Lord Sanders' fortune for himself. This vile creature has taken the guise of one of Lord Sanders' servants in order to get close to him and convince him that he is Lord Sanders' son. Several nobles mutter between themselves, worry etched on their faces. We all must join together and act if we are to remove this parasite before it is too late. Lord Rosalind, you are making me angry. You will not silence me, cousin. You are not thinking with a clear head, and we need to make you understand that. Marcel is Mora's son. He looks exactly like her. A few of the nobles spare some glances my way, while I suspect others are puzzling over which of the servants is Marcel. Yes, I suppose he does, but that doesn't prove he's your son. It doesn't prove that he's not. I mean, he looks like her, not you. The muttering grows louder as Lord Sanders stands, trying to regain control of the room. They have each other's eyes. Mora wasn't with anyone after me. That's not exactly what I told him, but I guess that's how he took the information I'd given him. Still, it probably is true in the sense he wants it to be. I don't think she ever went as far as she did with Lord Sander with anyone else. I don't think Mom would have risked having another child. Not when she could have dared to support me. Ha! And how do you know that? Did Marcel tell you? Because if that's the case, it doesn't mean anything as long as his word is in question. The guests continue talking amongst themselves, taking Lady Rosalind's words to heart. She smiles smugly as Lord Sander grits his teeth. Lady Rosalind goes around the table and takes a few steps towards me. If this charlatan really was your son, don't you think he'd have appeared before you fell ill? The only reason for him to appear now of all times is trying to get into your will. It is a coincidence. He didn't know, and he was surprised when he found out my illness was terminal. I was there when Marcel found out. I can confirm that what Lord Sander says is true. I feel a surge of affection for Lord Chiron. It's good to know he's still on my side. The only thing that proves is that he's a good actor, a skill that was most likely honed in the years he spent in the streets as a common criminal. She looks directly at Lord Sander before making her next point. Something I'm sure he has already confided in you in order to gain your trust. It's true then, Lady Rosalind is telling the truth. Silence, I'm not done speaking. The man grumbles, but he goes quiet as Lord Rosalind finishes her approach. She starts to encircle me. I look straight ahead, trying to give her as little attention as possible. But how much did he really tell you, dear cousin? I imagine it wasn't everything. Let's see, you probably did tell him how you used to steal things. You could have easily won some sympathy by saying you only took things to scrape by. But did you tell Lord Sander about the other thing? There is no other thing. That means she's going to make something up. I don't think she'll accuse me of any violent crimes. I don't have the build for it, and she'd have to provide more evidence than it's worth. She could say smuggling, which my mother did do, but I think Lady Rosalind would lump that in with some of more forgivable crimes. If she wants to support the claim she's made previously, then I think I know what direction this is going in. She already accused me of it once after all. His mother made a habit of charming men and then leeching off of them. Case in point, her dealings with Lord Sander. She wanted him to make a commitment to her so that she'd be set for life, which is the cause of this confusion in the first place. Luckily, we intervened and severed that connection before she had her way. Still, it remains a smudge in our otherwise spotless history. The fact that I'm bringing it up after all this time should show you how serious I am about this. She says it like a warning, implying that if anyone spreads it around, she will take action against them. But getting back to my point, this young man is claiming to be Lord Sandor's son, has followed in his mother's footsteps. He cons others to get what he wants, and has resorted to selling himself for coin. I've collected several individuals who are willing to testify just that. By collected, she meant paid. Then again, it's possible she didn't even have to go that far if she used people who wanted to earn her favor. The point is that she can bring in as many witnesses as she wants, and there's not much I'm going to be able to do about it. But I doubt we need to look far for that evidence. In my time here, my servants have observed the way that Marcel has interacted with others in Lord Sandor's house. What they have found is that this vile child has been working on manipulating a handful of Lord Sandor's servants and our very own Lord Sheeran, which I can only conclude was the backup plan if getting Lord Sandor's fortune didn't work out. That's not true. Lady Rosalind's face darkens as Vincent speaks up. I'm a bit taken aback myself. I didn't think he'd break decorum to defend me, but he has, and he wasn't even careful about his word choice. Marcel is not like that. He did not approach any of us with such intentions. Any servants that Lord Sanders employ will tell you the exact same thing. And if I may be so bold, it is generally Lord Sheeran that makes advances, and not the other way around. I don't exactly appreciate the butler's accusatory tone, but it's not untrue. In this case, it was definitely me who made the first move. Marcel didn't want anything to do with me. You've both been fooled. The very fact that you're both coming to his aid so readily is proof enough that he has gotten to you. Or that all of your saying is complete rubbish, woman. That's probably the most likely thing. That's Vincent enough. Vincent quickly goes silent and backs down at Lord Sanders' order. Still, he doesn't manage to hide the irritated expression on his face. And the same goes for you, Aloy. Me? I'm not your servant. You can't just order me to be quiet when this hag is going on about things she doesn't even know the first thing about. A collective gasp runs through the other nobles at the table. Hag was a poor word choice. No, I think hag was the perfect word choice. I think it only made the other nobles more inclined to side with Lady Rosalind. You will be quiet if you expect to remain in my house, do you understand? Lord Sheeran groans, but he does obey grudgingly for the time being. Lord Sander turns his attention to Lady Rosalind, a serious expression on his face. Is that all you had to say, Rosalind? For the most part. I just wanted to make it very clear that this young man is not to be trusted. I cannot stand idly by and let you be tricked into giving your fortune away to the likes of him. If you name him your heir, I swear I will do all in my power to destroy him. She looks around the room, making eye contact with each of the other guests in turn. And I urge all of you to join me in this. A couple of nobles voice their agreement while others show their consent with nods. The fact of the matter is that they're more than happy to believe Lady Rosalind's lie. If I am Lord Sander's son, I get his money. If I'm not, they have a chance to get something out of his death. Still, when it comes down to it, I could care less what they think. I only care what Lord Sander thinks. The problem is, I can't read his expression right now. I'm not sure where I stand with him. It's possible he might have taken Lady Rosalind's words seriously. Once Lady Rosalind is sure she has the majority on her side, she turns her attention back to me. Do you have anything to say for yourself, worm? I look at Lord Sander directly. I don't have anything to say to her, but I do have something to say to him. You either believe me or you don't. That's all there is to it. Lord Sander closes his eyes and thinks it over. I still have no idea what he's thinking when he opens them. Marcel, I want you to leave the room. We'll talk later. That's it? What am I supposed to make of that? Lady Rosalind's grin becomes more pronounced. She seems to think that she's won. I just wish I could tell if she really has. I take a bow and leave the room the way I'd been taught. Not sure where else to go, I head to my room in a bit of a daze. I change out of my work clothes and then flop onto my bed, burying my head in my pillow. It's only now occurring to me how tired listening to all that made me feel. Still, my head is too busy buzzing with thoughts for me to call it a day. I don't even know if I'll be welcome here anymore when Lord Sander finally does get around to talking to me. Was Lady Rosalind really that convincing? Maybe there was some truth to words after all. Am I sucking up to Lord Sander because of our deal? I don't think I'm the type to do that sort of thing on an unconscious level, but what if I actually am? I don't want to face him. I really don't want to face him. I roll over in bed when a new thought occurs to me. I don't have to face him. I can leave right now. If Lord Sander doesn't believe in me, then he'll never get the chance to chew me out, and if he does, well, I already said what I need to say. I don't need to stick around anymore. It's not like I actually need the money. I'll figure something out. I always do. I don't think I want it anymore anyway. After everything Lady Rosalind said, I feel like I'll just be confirming it if I did end up taking it. I get up off the bed and start packing my things. It's not hard thing to do considering I really don't have all that much. I think about leaving a note, but it'd take up time and I don't really know exactly what I want to say anyway. That done, I peek outside my room and make sure the coast is clear, and then make my way out to the front doors. I pass through them and take several steps towards the town before turning around and giving the estate one last look. It already feels a bit nostalgic. I can't say every experience I had there was a good one, but I'll miss it. More than that, I'll miss everyone I started becoming friends with. Especially Kamal. It doesn't matter now. I remind myself that if I want to truly disappear, I need to keep moving. I don't have time to overthink things. I turn away from the estate and continue on down the path into town. It's already dark and I'm starting to think that actually leaving town might not be the best idea. It'll be hard to see where I'm going, and there's always the possibility of running into bandits or wild animals in the road. It might be best to wait until morning. Of course, that conflicts with my desire to get as far as I can before Lord Sander and the others realize I'm missing. Still, maybe I can count on them assuming that's what I did. If that's the case, I lay low down in town for a while, I might be able to avoid anyone they might send after me. Assuming they do send anyone after me. The more I think about it, the more I think I'm overreacting, and probably not worth searching for in the first place. Right, that decides it. I'll stay in town for the night and head out in the morning. That plan in mind, I search out the nearest inn and pay for a room. I hit the bed as soon as I reach the room and spend the rest of the night trying to fall asleep. I wake up late in the morning. I'd intended to get up early, but that clearly didn't happen. Still, there's no reason to change the rest of the plan. It's time to head home. I haven't figured out what I'm going to tell Mom when I get there, but I guess I'll have plenty of time to figure it out on the way. Maybe I should just tell her the truth. It'll be hard for her, but the more I think about it, the more I think she should hear it. I want to tell her that Dad didn't just forget her. I want her to know that he kept loving her in his own way, even if it wasn't enough to keep them together. It is something. I think I will tell her. No, not I think. I will tell her. I leave the inn behind and head through the town. I reach the end of the street when a hand grabs my shoulder from behind. Is it Kamal? I whirl around to see a very familiar face. Kamal, what are you doing here? Looking for you. Right, I guess that was a dumb question. I mean, there aren't many other reasons for him to be here. The question I should be asking is why is he looking for me? Still, I'm a little hesitant to find out. If you came to drag me back, you're wasting your time. I won't go. You can't make me. I can. But I won't. Your choice has to be your own, or it's meaningless. There is something you need to know, though. Your dad is worse. Borges thinks this is it. If he's right, this could be your last chance to see him. What? I stare at Kamal stupidly for a moment. That's not... I want to say that it's not possible, but I know it is. I've known that he was dying for a while now. It's just strange that he got worse the moment I've committed to leaving. I run a hand through my hair as I try to process. You okay? Not really. Sorry. I'm not good at this sort of thing. I don't know how to make it easier. It's not something you can make easier. I say it with more than an edge necessary. I have to remind myself that he's just trying to help. Sorry. Kamal nods understandingly. Will you see him? Yeah, of course. I'll head over there now. My head hurts. Marcel. Yes? Can you at least say goodbye before you leave again? Yeah. Kamal nods and then turns to go. I follow him back to the estate, but we split up when we get to the stairs. He heads to the garden and I start climbing the steps. When I reach Lord Sandor's door, I don't bother knocking. I open the door gently and head inside. Lord Sander looks in my direction and smiles weakly. There you are. I wasn't sure if they'd find you in time. I pull a chair next to his bedside and take a seat. How do you feel? Okay, all things considered. Bo just had me take a bunch of stuff. It's cut down on the pain and the coughing, but I'm still having trouble moving my body. I'd sit up if I could, but well, I can't. I'm sorry, I should have stayed. Why didn't you? I thought... I was afraid you might have actually believed Lady Rosalind. Ah. She was more convincing than I thought she'd be. She's good at what she does. If I trusted her character more, I might have been convinced. But I made the mistake of listening to her regarding your mother, and I've regretted it ever since. I wasn't going to repeat that incident a second time. Then why did you send me away? I thought I'd spare you the headache. The headache? Yeah, I decided to use Lady Rosalind's dinner party as a chance to kick everyone out once and for all, so there was a lot of yelling. I finally got around to telling them all how I felt about them. It was extremely satisfying. I might have overdone it though. It's probably why I had such a bad attack afterwards. I told you that you shouldn't have gone. Lord Sander let out a laugh, but winces immediately afterwards. It definitely took a bit of a toll on his body. Still, he resumed, smiling at me as if nothing is wrong. You did. Still, it felt good. I don't regret it at all. I'd rather not talk about them, though. They've taken up enough of my time. What you want to talk about, then? You. I want to know your plans. My plans? I want to know you've got things figured out, that you'll be okay when I'm gone. You don't have to worry about that. I was okay before I came here. I'll be fine afterwards, too. He nods, a serious expression on his face, and he looks over at me trying to determine how truthful I'm being. Really, I'll be okay. I fidget slightly as his intense stare stays fixed on me. What I said wasn't a lie, but I suppose a statement should have had an eventually tacked onto it. I let out a sigh and decided to answer it with a bit more honesty. I will be okay, but I will be sad for a while. I mean, I just decided to accept you, and now this is it. It kind of feels like you're dying because I said it. It's like I'm not allowed to be happy. I stop short, realizing my face is wet. It makes me another minute to realize that it's because I'm crying. I wipe away the tears, quickly trying to stop myself from getting too emotional. This isn't like me. Sorry. Don't be. Those are your feelings, aren't they? I guess. You're wrong, though. You're allowed to be happy. You know how I know that? How? Because I'm allowed to be happy. I was so sure I was going to die alone. I deserved to die alone. I'd earned that fate when I betrayed your mother, and I was willing to accept it as my punishment. But then you came. Oh gosh, now I'm starting to get misty-eyed myself. At first I wasn't sure if it was a kindness or a cruelty. I thought, why now? Where were you when it would have made a difference? But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that if I wasn't dying, I would have probably sent you away. I would have repeated the same exact mistake I made with Mora. So I'm thankful. I mean, I obviously don't want to die, but because of it I got to get to know you. Even if it's just for a moment. I got to be a part of your life. And that makes me happy. You make me happy. He says it with so much pride, I'm taken aback. I don't know what to do with so much praise, especially since I'm not sure I deserve it. All I did was come here. To think that something that simple has the power to make someone happy is ridiculous. But he is happy. If he didn't say it in his words, I can see it on his face. I let myself be unhappy for a long time because I thought I deserved to be unhappy. And I think on some level, you're like me in that regard. You've let what I've done to you and your mother ground you in realism. That might keep you from getting hurt, but it also keeps you from opportunities that could potentially make your life more fulfilling. I don't want that for you. Be cautious, but you'll let yourself take risks every once in a while too. If there is something you want to do it and follow through to the end. It might end in failure, even failure on a cataclysmic level. But for that moment, it will have been worth it, and when you're on your deathbed, you won't regret never having tried. I don't know if that's something I can do. It is. You've already proven it. You came here and you accepted me. You have all the courage you need. If there's one thing I know, it is that. His hand shakes as he reaches for mine. I meet him halfway, taking his hand into mine and squeezing it with more affection than I'd ever thought I'd show this man. That's what I want to leave you with. If there's any advice I can give you as a father, I want it to be that. You know, you're not half as bad at this father stuff. He lets out a small chuckle. It is considerably lighter laugh than earlier. I think he's holding back so that it hurts less. I wish I'd been there for you the whole time. You're here now. It's enough. Can't exactly get away in my condition, though, can I? I laugh despite the situation. I guess not. It's nice when you smile. You should do it more often. You think so? Yeah, I do. I'll try then. Good. He nods to himself. There are things I'd rather discuss. But I guess I'd better tell you that I've decided as far as my inheritance goes, so you don't have to hear it secondhand. Skill check. Nah, I did not. You might not agree with me, but I think things will be easier for you if I don't name you my heir. If you had more time to learn how to deal with people like Rosalind, I'm sure I would have eventually felt comfortable giving it to you. But as things are now, it's okay, I understand. If not inheriting your money means I never deal with another noble, then it'll be well worth it. I like how even if you don't quite get it, even though you don't reach it, there is a perfectly satisfying reason behind it. It's not that he doesn't love his son. It's not because he thinks his son is not, you know, a competent person. It's that he doesn't think he's ready yet. He's not ready yet to deal with having the estate. He thinks that I will be much happier, you know, not having his money. Thank you, Marcel. I didn't expect you to be so understanding. Still, I don't intend to leave you with nothing. I've set aside a bit of money for you. It's not a lot, at least it's not a lot by standards I'm used to. No one will miss it though, and I'll allow you and your mother to live comfortably for a little while. See, that's important. That's more than I was expecting. I wanted to do more, but if I do too much, I risk making you a target. I don't want that. So that'll have to do, I guess. That's fine, really. You've done more than enough. You're a good kid. I really lucked out with you. I decide to change the subject before I get even more embarrassed. I'm really not good at taking compliments. Out of curiosity, can I ask what you did decide to do with your fortune? And please don't tell me Lady Rosalind is getting all of it. Only half, and only sort of. It's technically going to her son, Lucius, and he only gets it if she leaves my other inheritors alone. And you think she'll be content with only half? Oh yes, especially after that lecture I gave her the other day. She'll probably consider herself lucky to get anything at all. And it'd be a lot harder to gain her the support she'd need to tear down Vincent anyway. The support she'd need to tear down Vincent anyway. You're giving the rest to Vincent? I am. He knows how to deal with nobles and has a good reputation with most of them. I think giving it to Vincent makes the most sense. On top of that, he's got good business sense. A lot of my most lucrative dealings were handled by him. Besides, he's been the one taking care of me for the most of my last decade. I figure if anyone deserves it, he does. I totally agree. He's the one who's actually been around the longest. He'll think it's a terrible idea when he finds out, of course, but I know he can handle it. What do you think? Not a bad idea, huh? He's a surprising choice, but it does make sense. He has more than proven he can run this house. But I'm still worried about him being harassed. It sounds like you have Lady Rosalind under control, but what about other people like her? I did think about that. I figured if I phrased it in a way I was giving him the money for the upkeep of the house, it wouldn't be too offensive to any of our previous guests. I also put in a clause where he was in charge of selecting a new lord, so to speak. He can take as much time as he wants, and if he doesn't find anyone suitable, then he doesn't have to give it up to anyone. Ah, so you're giving them an apparently legitimate way to get at your fortune. And in order to try to win this game, they'll have to be nice to Vincent. So even if there are some people who are against him, he should have plenty of people willing to play his allies. That's right. That's just might work then. And I'm glad that the game was able to figure out a way to get around that. I'm glad you think so. I did wonder if it was a little too crazy to work. Well, if it doesn't, you've given Vincent a chance to escape his duties too. All he'd have to do is pick someone. True. I think that's a great way to end that. Or wrap that up. I didn't necessarily mean to, but I think I reassured Dad a bit. He seems a little more relaxed to me. Well, that's what I've decided to do with it. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, maybe we can get back to talking about something more pleasant. Dad's eyelids droop for a moment, and I fear that they might close for good. Dad? Huh? Oh, sorry. I don't know what came over me. I frown. That can't be a good sign. A moment of silence passes between us before Dad looks me in the eye. You sure you'll be okay? I'll be fine, I promise. So stop worrying about it. Right, sorry. I don't mean to be a pest. There's nothing to be sorry for. You're my dad, so you're supposed to be annoying sometimes. True enough. I was hoping to get a smile out of him with my last comment, but he just seems tired. Tell your mother I'm sorry, will you? Of course. You know your name. You know your name. He closes his eyes and takes a deep breath before settling against the bed. My aunt owned a dog that was named Marcel. He hated my guts, but he loved Mora. She liked him too. You're telling me I'm named after a dog? We named the dog Indiana. I'm going to have a long talk about this with Mom. Then again, I don't hate my name or anything. Still, being named after a dog is a little ridiculous. I just thought it was kind of funny. I reply sarcastically. It's hilarious. That aside, Mom probably liked the idea of taking a stab at you every time she said my name. I expect to hear an I suppose so, or you're probably right. But Dad doesn't say anything. He just lies there, quietly ignoring me. Dad? I bite my lip and concentrate on his chest, hoping to see the familiar rise and fall that comes with breathing. I don't. I tighten my grip on his hand. His fingers are cold and bends easily to my will, offering up no resistance. I think. No, I don't want to think that. Dad? I try again, my voice cracking halfway through. My voice doesn't reach him. I try shaking him, but there's no response. Dad! I shake him with more force. In the back of my head, I already know that it's pointless, but I do it anyway. Dad, this isn't funny. Open your eyes, say something. You can't just leave, not like that, please. Dad! All my begging is for nothing. He's gone. He's really gone, and I can't keep denying it. That was all the time I was allowed to have with him. I run a hand through my hair, trying to work through the numbing shock that's crept into my head. Why did I waste it? I could have had more time with him. We could have had more talks just like this. I could have had a father for a little longer. Why did I spend so much time holding a grudge against him? That's just something that you're going to have to deal with, then, Marcel. I sit there for a long time and just stare into space. I don't want to think, because thinking means feeling, and feeling hurts right now. Still, I don't know I can't just leave him like this. I need to do something. At the very least, tell someone. I need to. I don't know anymore. I can't do this right now. Whatever I need to do will have to wait. I don't remember who came in to check on us first. I don't remember a lot, actually. I know I locked myself in my room for the next few days, and I know that Vincent ended up taking care of the funeral arrangements, among other things. I remember seeing Dad's face one last time before they put him in the ground. That's about it, though. The rest of it is a blur. I'm doing a bit better now, but it still hurts if I think about it too much. I can't waste more time, though. I've imposed on Vincent for too long. He's in no hurry to kick me out and has even asked me to stay. He's in no hurry to kick me out and has even asked me to stay, but I'm not going to take him up on that offer. I thought about it, but in the end I decided I didn't want to cause him any trouble. Besides, I don't want to spend my life working as a servant. Dad said that I should take some risks, that if there was something I wanted to do, I should do it. I think I want to take that bit of advice to heart. So I'm going to travel for a while. I'm going to find something worth taking a risk for and go for it. I don't know where I'll end up, and it's a little terrifying, but it's also kind of exciting. Whether that remains true when I leave remains to be seen. But for now, I'm more hopeful than I think I've ever been. All that's left is to say my goodbyes. The friends I've made while have been here all are lined up outside the house, waiting to give me a proper send-off. The first one I approach is Vincent. He offers me his hand, and I shake it firmly. You're positive this is what you want? I am. There's no persuading you otherwise. No, this is something I really want to do. I'll write, though, and I may visit from time to time if that's all right. Of course it is. You'll always be welcome here. I smile and open my arms wide. Vincent's not one for informalities, but he makes an exception this time and accepts my hug. Me next! I sigh, but then give Lord Chiron the hug he's requested once I finish Vincent's. You're still as impatient as ever, I see. I can't help it. Well, for what it's worth, I will surprisingly miss you. Sheesh, you say it with so much affection. Still, you probably won't have to miss me too much. I'm thinking about chasing you down after I make a trip home. Great. You're actually planning to go home? I figure I've gone too long without visiting my parents. I imagine Dad's death has a lot to do with that decision. I think it's a good idea. Take care, okay? I will. He lets me go, and I head over to Kamal. Oh, I don't get to say goodbye to Borges? You need a hug too? He lets out a small chuckle and spreads his arm. I give him a quick hug. Quick hug? Come on, Marcel. Don't worry about this lot. Don't worry about this lot. I'll take care of them. You just focus on finding whatever you're looking for out there. Thanks, Kamal. Kamal nods and backs off, keeping it brief. I kind of wish he'd say a little more, but that is how he is. Borges is next. I give him the now customary hug. I'm sorry I couldn't do more to save your father. There's nothing to apologize for, Borges. You did more than enough. I'm wondering if you go down Borges' path and then, like, maximize Borges' path. I'm wondering if Borges may actually be able to save your father. I'm curious about that. He still doesn't seem entirely convinced, but he does manage to smile. Thanks, Marcel. Oh, before I forget, I've got some things for you. He shuffles around in his medical bag and pulls out a few potions. I don't expect you to go looking for fights or anything, but I figured I'd feel better if you had them, just in case. Thanks, Borges, that's really nice. Stay safe, it can be dangerous out there. I nod and then move on to the last person in line. You still owe me, you know. I expect you to be in town for the next big match, so you can cover for me like you promised. Of course, I didn't forget. Good. As she hugs me, I look around. I was expecting one more person to see me off, but I don't see her. Where's Lycia? Ah, about that. I'm here. Sorry, it took me so long. Huh? What's all that luggage for? I've decided that I'm going with you. Oh, great. You're what? Well, you need a trusty companion, don't you? That's me. I can carry your stuff, peel potatoes, and distract enemies with my sexiness. Frankly, you need me. Okay. I managed to hold back a laugh, but an obvious grin still forces its way onto my face at her comments. You make a good point. I do, don't I? You sure about this? Yup, I think this road trip will be good for me too. Alright then. She practically beams at me. You're okay with it? I'm okay with it. Yes! Licia says her own goodbyes, and after lingering longer than I meant to, the two of us head out of town. I'm kind of bummed that Kamal isn't going with us, though. The first stop will be Mom's house. I'm going to give her the money Dad gave me, but most of all, I want to tell her about him. After that, well, who knows? Licia and I will figure it out soon enough. And that was it. Celso Riva, original idea, dating sim design, coding, audio effects, Hunter. So that was Airs and Graces. It was like I said, I really enjoyed the writing in that one. That had a really good story. It started off relatively slow, I think, but then once you got through the first several scenes, it started to pick up. My biggest critiques, again, were there were definitely a bunch of spots where I felt strongly that it made perfect sense to have choices in. And I felt like that was something that was relatively glaring for me. It didn't completely spoil my experience of the game, because I still really enjoyed this game a lot. But I just felt that that would have helped a lot. The skill system was really cool. It's just, I just didn't feel like there was really a way for you to figure out how to properly navigate through it other than trial and error or looking it up. You know, I felt that they did a much better job giving you hints as to what to do with the skills in Roommates way more. You know, I thought that was a lot more intuitive because there was a skill system there. I felt like Kalina did a little bit better job than this one. This one you just really had to guess and had no idea. And it seemed like you only really needed to bring up majority of the skills up to 20 at most. And once you got to 20, then you could have focused on other things if you really wanted to. So, I mean, I started, you know, when I realized that things got up to 10 or 20, I went up to 30 on everything just in case anything went up to 30. And then there was like this random strength check for like 90. And I'm like, oh, okay, that was kind of random. Well, it wasn't random. It was during a Kamal scene, and I know for Kamal you need to have like strength. So, like I said, I enjoyed this game. The characters were cool. I enjoyed the cast. I thought that they were written very well. I thought that the scenes between Kamal and Marcel, who I was pursuing, was very cute, very adorable. I thought that the ending that I got wasn't a bad ending. But it was, I don't know, I just felt like even if you weren't given the estate, and where you weren't made the heir, I felt like if you had gotten to a certain point with Kamal, that he would have ended up going with you. Whoever you were romancing would go with you to adventure. Instead, we got Lithia, and again, Lithia's fine, she just wasn't my favorite character. She ended up annoying me a little bit near the end. I liked her more in the beginning, and then as the story progressed, I started liking her less and less. But, I mean, Marcel's not me, and it was very clear that Marcel and her were very close. They basically were besties. They basically were best friends. That's fine. I didn't particularly care for her very much, personally. But that's fine. That's fine. I think that, I'll probably see what I will do now. Now that I know what I know, with the first two playthroughs of the game, I think I can now go for a perfect ending. And hopefully, fingers crossed, get a few more juicy scenes with Kamal. So let's go ahead and try that.